will finish up today on talking about Elijah. Elijah is a very interesting personality in the scriptures. Perhaps, if not for Moses and John the Baptist, perhaps I would vote him as the greatest of all Old Testament prophets. If I never read Jesus say that the greatest of all Old Testament prophets is John the Baptist, my vote will go to Elijah, not even to Moses. Okay? Well, we saw how he appeared on the prophetic stage last week. He prophesied stopping the rain and resuming the rain. And the amazing thing is when he confronted the prophets of Baal and the Asherah, around 850 in total, and killed them all. Can you imagine this prophet? That's why the modern times, they are not ready for a ministry like this, although this is exactly the ministry of the last days. And in fact, in the last days, the book of Revelation says the two witnesses will be flowing in the anointings of Moses and Elijah, and the only person who will be able to defeat them temporarily is the Antichrist, because of the judgment that God is bringing on the earth. So we'll continue looking at his life today. Malachi prophesied that the coming of the Messiah will be preceded by an Elijah ministry. Okay, this is one of the reasons, again, why I believe that it's going to be a very prophetic ministry in the last days. Look at Malachi 4 verse 5. Look, I am going to send you the prophet Elijah before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. And he will turn the hearts of fathers to their children, and the hearts of children to their fathers. Otherwise, I will come and strike the land with a curse. Now, there are differing opinions on the interpretation of this passage. It says, he will turn the hearts of their fathers. The word turn, the root word is the one that is being used for repentance. But you can practically look at this from the English perspective and say it will force the fathers to look at the children and the children to look at the fathers. You know. So, I guess that is understandable because in Timothy, one of the prophecies talked about is the rebelliousness that children will have against their parents. And we're seeing that right now. In fact, that's one of the demons that Lester Samuel saw when he was in the Philippines before coming back to the U.S., specifically in South Bend, Indiana. But then on the last days, there will be an Elijah type of ministry, a prophetic ministry. It will, for lack of a better term, it will force the parents to look at the children and the children to look at the parents, specifically the fathers. Because this is a segment of society that has been totally neglected and demolished. The progress, all the progress that we are seeing today has actually hurt the family. My son Joseph was sharing to us this morning a military man. He was recommending to me a website, and he said this military person was talking with fellow now turned civilians, and they were talking about war, and they're talking about how do you torture a captured opponent, something like that. And you know, when he talks about waterboarding, the other guy says, "Oh, that's tragic. That's awful. That's barbaric." And then he said, this Christian military guy, "What if you put the victim in a room and then soak him in water for a couple of days with saline solution? What will happen to and start cutting him to pieces? What will happen?" They said, "That is barbaric, that is murderous." And he said, "But that's what you guys exactly do during the abortion." He said, you say barbaric, that's what you exactly do during the abortion. He said, you leave the baby there sometimes 2 days after it's already cut into pieces. And the saline solution that I'm telling you is part of what is in the water bag. He said, and you say it's okay. How come it's not okay to do it in torture? But that's actually torturous. But you see, in abortion, in America, for example, it had killed something like 60 million children. One generation of Americans was slaughtered. Now, people laugh at that, but you reap what you sow. And some parents are very eager to throw their kids out of their houses. Well, it will come back to you. So what happened now is we have a lot of parents aging with nobody taking care of them. Why? Because you throw your kids out at a young age. And so now they're wondering, how come the children of America are not taking care of their parents? You taught them that. You want to kick them out as early as you can. And so you reap what you sow. And that is all coming back. And so it's only, I believe, it's only a matter of revival and an Elijah type of ministry that will force the reckoning of the eye-to-eye meet of the parents and the children. Not even COVID was able to accomplish that, okay? Because COVID was temporary. Now it's beginning to disintegrate again. It was superficial. In the Philippines, our families were devastated, I think starting on the 70s. We call it the brain drain, when supposedly the most talented, the most intelligent Filipinos has to leave the country for better opportunities because there are no jobs available. I mean, I don't know if other countries are the same as the Philippines. You will hear, for example, you go to the grocery store, you have people bagging groceries. In the Philippines, the people bagging groceries there, they look very poor. Most of them have college degrees. Yeah. Principals in the Philippines retire from their job to go to Hong Kong and be a housekeeper because they make more money. You know, so that is the plight. And what happened there is the children suffer. And it produced what we call in the 70s as Saudi widows. When one of the parents go overseas, the one left in the Philippines start committing adultery because there's no partner, you know. And the children were left witnessing all of this, and so such hatred, when you begin to see your parents cheating on your other parent, it creates, psychologists have seen this already, it creates such bitterness in the hearts of the children. And sometimes they blame themselves, but ultimately they will grow old. And when they grow old, they blame the parents and they lose attachment. And so only an Elijah type of ministry can restore that. Because Elijah forced the issue on Israel and their God the Father on Mount Carmel. And the idols of Baal and the Asherah and their prophets, which is spiritual adultery. He forced it, and they looked at each other. And it's the power of God that broke the impasse. And they begin to be reconciled. Now that is an amazing prophecy, and I believe that the same thing applies today. John the Baptist is associated with the prophet Elijah. Matthew 11, verse 11. Truly I tell you, among those born of women, no one greater than John the Baptist has appeared, but the least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven has been suffering violence, and the violent have been seizing it by force. For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John. And if you are willing to accept it, he is Elijah who is come. Let anyone who has ears listen. So in all of this, always keep in mind that Elijah, because you see a very powerful ministry like this, and sometimes we read or hear of powerful ministers. And at the back of our minds, we involuntarily sometimes think that they are not like us. They are not human. But they are human. They are just like us, subject to everything, and can be discouraged. I told you about Reverend Tommy Hicks of of Argentina, the one who brought revival in Argentina during the times of President Peron. Well, 2 years of mighty revival in Argentina. Thousands of people got saved, if not millions. Thousands of bodies got healed. And so after 2 years, he was burned out and he needs to rest. They gave him a vacation in the U.S. He went on a boat to travel back to the U.S. I don't know why boat was chosen as the means of transportation. He was on the boat for 2 months and committed adultery in the boat. Now that is Tommy Hicks, a powerful man of God, and yet committed adultery in the boat. Why is it that somebody so powerful like that can fall for something like this? Because they're just as human as we are. Okay, so understand this, that the characters that we are studying are just as human as we are, and that's why the title of this series is Walking with the Prophets, and this section, Walking with Elijah. It's because if you study his life, he's got passion for God. Like we have passion for God. That passion can sometimes go up or go down. He desired God's glory and God's power, and he got them, you know. So everything, I mean, he suffered during famine. We suffer during recession, all of those things. But what I would like to look at today is how Elijah went through a time of discouragement and how he wanted to end his life. He's praying to die. Very suicidal in his thoughts. When somebody is like that, very suicidal, you are losing hope. You know, I told you about one minister that we helped in the Philippines. His wife came from a well-to-do family, and they were rich. Fell in love with the pastor, and the dad says, "Well, daughter, what will your life be the moment you marry this pastor? Because you are born in a rich family, and he's got nothing." You know. So the girl says, and that's why you need to use common sense in marriage. The girl says, "Well, Dad, I love him, and we believe God, and we are going to brave it through by faith." Well, she could not really handle the life. One day, this guy came home from a ministry, and normally his wife will meet him. He walk in the house, and nobody's answering him, calling his wife, and nobody's answering. Went to the bathroom and saw his wife hanging, committed suicide. She could no longer handle the pressure of poverty and being married to a pastor. That pastor left the ministry for a while. We restored him. He's now back pastoring a church. And I even heard, I think he went to the U.S. He came to the U.S. But it took years for him to recover. And the guy was just clinging to us like a wounded puppy when we saw him, because he could not handle the pressure, and thank God he was restored. But the beautiful thing about that is, after such time of intense discouragement, he did not let go of his faith, although it was wavering, but he held on to God, and thank God Almighty, we were able to help him get back on his feet. Okay? Now, a lot of us can identify with that. I will not ask for a show of hands, but if I ask the question, how many of you here experience discouragement? I think only the liars will never raise their hands. Okay? Because we all experience discouragement. Well, they will come, offense will come. How you navigate through these times is what will help you determine what you are made out of. You see, earlier on, in one of my teachings, I was talking to you about our spiritual capacity to receive from the Lord. I will show you, but I'll be able to show it tonight. because we will run out of time this morning, that one of the most admirable quality of Elijah, he's got this massive reservoir in his spirit to receive from God. I mean, this prophet can soak it in, and nobody was able to, there are very few successions that are successful. Well, for that matter, I don't know any succession that is like Elisha. Nobody had ever had a succession like that. Why am I saying? Now, after going through a period of discouragement, why am I saying like this? I challenge you, think in your mind of a leader replaced by somebody, if there is ever a successful succession. I could not think of anything except this case. Joshua was not able to succeed Moses 100%. Why? He just succeeded in the area of leadership. He was not a prophet like Moses. I mean, even today, a leader leaves, somebody takes over, very few can really succeed. You will have successors, but to duplicate a ministry 100%, I never saw anything like that before, except for this. But not only was Elisha able to succeed Elijah, he doubled the miracles. Okay? So that is a testament on how well, because after being discouraged, he recovered, reopened his school of the prophets, discipled Elisha one-on-one, and produced in a short period of time a disciple that was able to succeed him 100%. And I'm telling you, in modern times, I have never seen anybody succeed anybody 100%. Nobody. Like exactly the same ministry this person had. Nobody. I have never seen anybody like that. Lester Samuel lay hands on Rod Parsley to pass on the torch. Rod Parsley is not even close to what Lester Samuel was. So not 100% succession. Okay, so we're going to see that today. So first, let's start at looking at the discouraged prophet, and that is Elijah. Okay, but by the way, the same with the parents. How many parents do you know one of their child succeeded them 100%? Most of the kids will not be able to do that, or they don't want to do that. Some of the kids surpass their parents, but to succeed 100%, that is rare. I only saw this in the Bible in terms of Elijah and Elisha. I never even saw this among the apostles in terms of Jesus. They were not Paul has no 100% successor. I mean, Timothy was a timid person, unlike Paul. So this to me, that's why I started with him. This to me is an excellent example on how to navigate our lives, especially in these last days. Okay? Now, let's talk about the discouraged prophet. Now, a normal view on the source of discouragement is after we are met with such a catastrophic event or a downturn in our lives. Say somebody sinned, somebody died, you lost something, you did not succeed on something, then normally you get discouraged. These are the normal sources of discouragement. Courage was taken out of you. That's basically what discouraged. You lost the courage. You lost the will. A discouraged person basically have lost the will to whatever they're doing. You're trying to start a business, and every time you start a business, it goes bankrupt. You get discouraged. You lose the will to go on with starting another business. Okay, that's basically what discouragement is. So normally it happens after a negative event of a person's life. Not with Elijah. The source of discouragement of Elijah is very different because the background is very different. He got discouraged, yes, but for different reasons. And the reasons are not as plain as it looks. Okay? Now we have read Elijah said or claim, for example, that he is the only one left. This gives me the idea that Elijah is one of those hermit type of a prophet. Now, he was not aware that Obadiah saved 100 prophets. But you have to remember that Jezebel and Ahab, or Ahab and Jezebel, were going after the prophets of God. If they find a prophet, they kill the prophet. Okay? So of course, Elijah is one of those prophets that if they see Elijah, they would kill him. But following the life of Elijah, it seems like the Lord has protected him and provided for him. So Elijah is a guy who experienced the provisions and the protection of the Lord while his life was on the line. He was not even aware, look how detached he was. He was not even aware that Obadiah had saved 100 prophets, and the Lord had saved, later on we'll find out, 7,000 people. They were just afraid. All of the prophets were just afraid of Ahab and Jezebel. Now, they have a school of the prophets. Can you imagine this? They have a school of the prophets. It closed, because if you go to school, they'll just kill you. So everybody was on the run. And so prophets will beat each other. Hey, did you see the prophet so-and-so? Yeah, yesterday he was caught by the soldiers of Ahab and he was beheaded. You know. What about you? Well, I'm running right now. I'm in the Dead Sea area. And they will see Elijah. Hey, Elijah. And then they stop seeing Elijah. Because there was a school of the prophets. He was the principal. And so until they lost touch with Elijah, Elijah perhaps assumed all of them are dead. Now, can you imagine if you are a servant of God and everybody that you know, that you thought you know, perished? That is what's going on. And by the way, for some people, the pressures of life takes time to see its effect. Okay? When I was teaching you guys on high maintenance personalities, one type of personality is what we call as the volcano. What's a volcano? A volcano is like a swan. Have you ever seen a swan swim? A swan floats on the water. It looks so peaceful. I mean, this swan is just floating right there. Because you don't see what's going on under the water. Because under the water, it's plopping like crazy, you know. But over the water, it's just a peaceful, beautiful swan. Okay? A volcano is like that. On the outside, it's a beautiful mountain. Okay? But inside, it's fire. And it's just, and a volcano explodes because there's no outlet. Mount Makiling is a volcano, but it never explodes. Why? Because surrounding Mount Makiling are a lot of hot springs. It has a lot of outlets. And so the heat is all coming out all the time. And a lot of resorts were built, hot spring resort in the Philippines. That's why Mount Makiling, that volcano, never erupts. But remember Mount Pinatubo, 200 years of being dormant, and finally it could not be contained anymore. It erupted. Mount St. Helens, it erupted. All of these things. And so, some people are like that. You put pressure on them. You put pressure on them. They smile. They look like a swan on the outside. They're smiling. But boy, inside it's boiling hot. Until there's a trigger that will make it explode. You see? Now, Elijah had seen all of this. These are part of his life. And he thought all the prophets were killed. Can you imagine the type of turmoil that it created inside? And then one day God told him, show yourself before Ahab. And he did, and confronted everybody and killed all the prophets. And now, after the confrontation on Mount Carmel that we saw last week, Ahab was a king. He was one of the weakest king in the Bible. He is actually like a Filipino husband, you know. He is under desire, okay? Can you imagine this king? Every time he's got a need, he goes to his wife and cry, Mommy, you know. Remember, well, later on you'll see that Naboth's vineyards, he likes the vineyard. And he said, can I buy that? And Naboth says, no, I cannot. This is given to us by God. And there is a command in the Bible that you should not move ancient boundaries and you should preserve the property of the family. That is actually a command from the scriptures. So Naboth could not sell that property. That's a family heritage from the Lord. And so the king who's got everything got very upset. And he went and cried to his wife and says, I like the vineyard, I hope there's no husband here like that whenever you are in need, you cry to your wife. That's Ahab. That's a very weak personality. And so in 1 Kings 19 verse 1, Ahab told Jezebel everything that Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with a sword. So Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah saying, may the gods punish me and do so severely if I don't make your life like the one of them by this time tomorrow. Obviously, Jezebel did not go to Mount Carmel challenge. Maybe, she was a very proud woman. Maybe she was thinking, there's no way that Elijah can come out of this alive. I've been looking for him all these years, and I could not find him. Against 850 prophets, my husband is there, the soldiers are there, and Israelis are there. No way that he can survive. Thousands of people around him. He's dead. So Jezebel did not bother to go. Well, by the help of the Lord through the fire that came down from heaven, Elijah killed the 850 prophets. By the way, it says he killed all of them. Remember, he deputized the citizens. Some of them were killed by the citizens. They found out they're liars, so they killed them because he deputized all of them. But the credit belongs to Elijah. He killed all the prophets. When he lost, he went to his mommy, his wife, and say, Mommy, all the prophets are dead. Now, he is a king, a prestigious king. All the prophets are dead. He's not a leader. He's a follower of his wife. He looks like a king. He's got the crown of a king. But he could not make a decision on his own. And he doesn't have the confidence that a leader should have. And so when Jezebel heard about it, he said, tomorrow, he said the messenger, tomorrow, he's dead. Now, prior to that, in what I said earlier, prior to this, Elijah's life has been under threat. So what's new? Under threat from who? Ahab and Jezebel. What is new? This is the same threat. And by the way, he's just coming off of victory. He killed 850 prophets. I can imagine after Ahab told Jezebel the story that it put some fear on the heart of Jezebel. I could not kill this prophet. So why did he order then that Elijah be killed? That's what cowards do. You know why a bully wants to bully people? Because they're cowards. Bullies, psychologists have known this, bullies are actually cowards. They could not do it properly. And so it's like if you find somebody always bad-mouthing somebody, that is a very insecure person. Because insecure person finds the need to put down people to gain confidence. Okay? And so that is a very insecure person. And so Jezebel decided, I am going to make one more threat to Elijah. And this is what happened. And even to my surprise, after knowing the life of Elijah, 1 Kings 19 verse 3. After the news that he was threatened to be killed in verse 3, then Elijah became afraid and immediately ran for his life. He wasn't doing this before. When he came to Beersheba, that belonged to Judah, he left his servant there, but he went on a day's journey into the wilderness. He sat down under a broom tree, and prayed that he might die. He said, I've had enough. Now, by the way, when you say that, I've had enough, that's a sign of discouragement right there. That's it. I've had enough, Lord. Take my life, for I'm no better than my ancestors. Then he lay down and slept under the broom tree. Suddenly, an angel touched him. The angel told him, "Get up and eat." Then he looked, and there was at his head was a loaf of bread baked over hot stones, and a jug of water, and he ate and drank and lay down again. Then the angel of the Lord returned for a second time and touched him. He said, "Get up and eat." So 2 meals now. He got up, ate and drank. Then on the strength from that food, he walked 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God. He entered a cave, and there he spent the night. Now look at how powerful this angel's food is. He ate twice and never eat again for the next 40 days. And he walked for 40 days and 40 nights. So he was sustained by this kind of food that the angel gave to him. So now, what we are seeing is a very courageous prophet discouraged. Okay? Let's look at the signs of discouragement from Elijah. These are also good signs for us to watch out for in our lives and on those around us. Okay? So, well, most of you know my son, Joseph. I can tell when Joseph is discouraged. He cannot hide it from me, you know. Well, I can tell when DJ is discouraged. She cannot hide it from anybody. She just cry, you know. And I can tell from my kids when they're discouraged. I can tell from my wife when she is discouraged. But sometimes we don't know what to do when the people around us are discouraged. And sometimes they don't even know they're discouraged because they think they still have a fighting spirit, you know. So what are the signs of discouragement from Elijah? Number one, fear. Say it with me. Fear. Say it again. Elijah afraid? Yes. If we are not careful, fear will come to us. A fearful person is a very discouraged person. Okay? In fact, a person that is filled with fear can paralyze you to the extent that you won't do anything. Okay? Sometimes you say, well, I'm just resting. I don't know about you, but you can only rest too much. And sometimes you give a person a break after going through difficulties. Okay, let's give them a break. But a break, when you say a break, it's just a short break. When the break is extended and the person is no longer doing anything for an extended period of time, that is fear. Okay? Because fear has a paralyzing effect. Let's take, for example, okay, people who cannot be accepted in a job. They apply, they cannot get accepted. They apply again, they can't get accepted. They just can't get accepted. To the extent they say, I'm taking a break. Taking a break from what? You were never accepted. I'm taking a break from what? I'm just taking a break right now. From what? Because you're so discouraged, now you are afraid the next job that you will be applying to will turn you down again. You do not know it, but you're actually filled with discouragement. By the way, simple signs, okay? Look at it. Students could not pass the course. And they say, I'm taking a break. I'll take another course. Actually, they're just discouraged. They could not pass the course. They're just discouraged. They quit because fear has a paralyzing effect. You know, sometimes you see these people studying in martial arts school, and they're doing all the kata, you know, and they're screaming. Put them in a real fight. I mean, a real fight will last what? Less than 2 minutes. And by the way, if you're new in a fight, it's not even going to be a minute. By the time you give your first blow or you get hit, I mean, your saliva is very thick in your mouth already, and you're gasping, and it paralyzes you. Some people, when they are confronted with fear, they just freeze. That is a fully discouraged person. Again, what is discouragement? It takes the courage from you. My father taught me this. He said, because I have seen my father fight crying. And so my father told me this, Jose, I'll teach you what bravery is. I said, what is bravery, Tatay? He said, it is when you are afraid, he said, and you feel disheartened, but you keep on fighting. He said, that's bravery. When you can summon something from your inside and keep fighting, even if you know you could be losing, you could be outnumbered. And he said, you are feeling nervous, but you keep on fighting. That is what courage is, you know. And because fear has this paralyzing effect in our lives. And sometimes one of the things that we have to ask ourselves is, have we been paralyzed? I don't mean physically. Rendered inactive. And some people just want to sleep, like Elijah, okay? The second sign, so the first one is fear, okay? The second sign of discouragement is this running for life. When all you want to do is preserve your dear life. By the way, there are some things in life that are more important than life itself. People don't realize that, okay? I mean, people say, well, for food and everything else, people will sell everything, including their bodies. Well, that's a person who had given up, you see? Because life is very valuable. And Elijah was very courageous before. I mean, if you look at, if you listen to Christians talk about their faith, I'm going to do everything for God. I'm going to. Ovidio is a Romanian friend of mine. After I was out of the church, the other church, I called my friend. I says, hey, listen, I have no job. I said, and he told me right away because he's a very good friend of mine. Come here to Phoenix. He said, come here to Phoenix and do a seminar for me. And one night we were just reminiscing, and he told me this. He said, you know, when I became a Christian in communist Romania, because it was during the time of Nicolae Ceausescu, he said, you have to be ready to be a martyr. He said, a Romanian Christian's dream in those days is to die a martyr. I said, really? That's horrible. He said, yeah, but if you are born again in Romania, you have to die, you have to be prepared to die as a martyr. He said, you can't even be baptized in water without permission from your parents. If the parents don't give you permission, you cannot be water baptized. So Jesus can command you to be water baptized. If the parent says, no, you will not be water baptized. So I said, did it happen to you? He said, yeah, my parents don't want me to be water baptized. So I said, what did you do? He said, I got baptized. He said, so my parents, and as a lot of us, they're secret police, so they will not find out. He said, we get baptized during winter. He said, we'll go to the woods. We'll find a body of water there, that we know there's a body of water. We'll break the ice. He said, we'll break the ice. And that's where we are water baptized. You know the one that in Chicago, Great Lake, Michigan? Remember Rahm Emanuel with one reporter, they make a big deal out of it to raise money. Christians in Romania do it regularly during Ceausescu. He said, the secret police will not follow us in the forest during winter. So it's very cold, but you have to be water baptized. Courage, you know. Then he said, I came to America. And that's when we were talking. He said, before, and he told me all kinds of stories, before I was ready to give my life for Jesus and die as a martyr. He has been in jail because of the gospel. But he's been in America for over 3 years now, you know, going 4 years. And he told me, America is prosperous. He says, there's so much in America. And America, he said, passed an attitude to me that I never thought I will have. And I asked, what? He said, Jose, if you ask me right now, am I willing to die for Jesus? He said this, I'm afraid I can't say yes anymore. He said, America had softened me. By the way, America is that kind of result among Christians. I mean, some of you Christians in the Philippines, the commitment back home is so much. I mean, back home, the way we attend meetings, we have Sunday school, we have Sunday service, we have midweek Bible study, and we attend all of it. And then we have revival meetings. We have never had a revival meeting in this church. Our revival meetings will last for 1 week, and every night people will be coming. But now, it's okay here not to go to church. So a lot of Christians were taken along for a ride. Now our precious life becomes more valuable even in our relationship with God. Jesus said this, if you love your life more than me, you're not worthy of me. You see? But now Elijah was running for his life. That's a sign of discouragement. Third, so number 1 is fear. Number 2 is running for his life. Number 3, nervous breakdown. This was clearly a nervous breakdown. You know what a nervous breakdown is, right? You know where it came from. Well, I will tell you the story, but it came from a book. What's the title of the book? Nervous Breakdown. Okay. That's the title of the. It's in your history. If I recall well, I forget the story in the book, but there's a lot of stress involved. But it's called Nervous Breakdown. That's the title of the book. That's I think a German or a Russian author wrote the book Nervous Breakdown, and that is when that started. But what Elijah is experiencing is nervous breakdown. Again, it's paralyzing. Fourth, this is very common. A very discouraged person. So number 1, fear, running for his life, nervous breakdown. Number 4, Elijah wants to be alone. But wait a minute. He was alone. He's always alone. But now he wants to be alone. You know how he wants to be alone? He told his servant, later on we'll read that, he told his servant, leave me alone. Stay here. I'll go further. When he went to escape, we write it. Stay here. He has been alone, running for his life. Every time Elijah appeared, it's by himself. But now, the need to be alone was intensified. He did not allow his servant to continue with him. That's why sometimes when a very discouraged person is around you, he'll say, leave me alone. Yeah, but you need help. Leave me alone. They cannot solve the problem by themselves. Leave me alone. You know, people say, well, I'm strong, I can handle this. I will not tell anybody about my problem. Well, all it is, you're discouraged. Yeah. Because a balanced person knows he needs help. He needs community. By the way, this is why family becomes very important. Because in family, you should be able to tell each other's problem. But when you will even hide it from your family. You just want to be alone. You just want to be alone. That's a sign of discouragement. Sometimes we think I want to be independent. No. There are so many reasons why a person wants to be alone. You don't want anybody to find out how weak you are. You don't want anybody to find out that you're discouraged. You don't want anybody to find out that you have a problem. You want to maintain this facade of being superhuman before everybody. But in the inside, you are just crumbling into pieces. Yeah. But if you are discouraged, you will not even call for help. Because again, you gave up on life already. You gave up on life already. You know, and going through difficulties, I will always have people that I call. In fact, after being born again and I had this bad attitude concerning my father especially, I called 700 Club. I said, I need help. I said, I just want to leave our house. I don't like my parents. I want to leave the house. I just want to be, and I, even on the phone, I call counseling from 700 Club in the Philippines. Yeah. Because for you to be able to talk about your struggles and difficulties to a loyal friend, okay, to a trusted person, is one of the first steps to overcoming it. I told you about one of my professors in Israel, a tank commander during the 6-day war. And they made a memorial out of the last stand they made. I mean, he got shot by his fellow soldier, and it's good that his mouth was open when he got shot. It went through his skin, you know. All the soldiers that survived, he said, in the bunker that they hide is still there. He said, when they decided to get inside, they left one soldier outside fighting. He said they have one fellow soldier that got wounded, mortally wounded. and writhing in pain. And he said, they heard the Egyptians, the Jordanians crawling in. And if they hear the noise, they'll just bomb the shelter that they were in. So they said, they have to tell the soldier, please stop. All of us will die. They have to stop the mouth. When they let go of the mouth, the soldier is dead. They suffocated their fellow soldier. You know. And then he said, we ran out of ammo. He said. So I'm the only one that was not wounded fatally. So my commander told me, why don't you go out in our destroyed tank? There is still ammo there. Go the ammo. Go get the ammo. They have one soldier outside. They don't know if he's alive. So he went outside. He said, as soon as I went outside, zing! He was hit by a bullet from his fellow. He said, what are you doing? We're together. You know. But the bullet went through his mouth and said, I secured the ammo, went back to the bunker. Even the helicopter pilot who rescued them after the event, after seeing the devastation, all of them would not talk about it. All of them has what you call as PTSD. He was the only one who doesn't have it. In fact, he earned his doctorate, became a professor, one of the chief archaeologists in Israel right now. You know, wrote tons of articles. The name is Moti Agara. Okay, and he was asked after they had a reunion, how did you manage to be okay? You have a family, you get a career. Everybody else was not okay. They were not talking about this. He said, I think there's one reason why I survived all of this. He said, I talk a lot. He said, I tell this story to everybody. And he said, by telling the story to everybody, it created a release. And people will encourage him, people will pray for him, people will give him counsel. Oh, I'm telling you, one of the most pitiful stage that anybody can have is to hold up in your own proud cave. You're just all alone there. I don't need anybody. I don't need to talk. I don't need help anybody. You're just a proud person full of fear, and courage had left your heart. You don't even have the courage to tell anybody about the struggles that you have. All the while pretending you have faith. No, you don't. You're just a discouraged person. Okay. The next. So first one, fear, running for his life, nervous breakdown, he wants to be alone. Number 5, he prayed that he might die. This is a desire to die. Suicidal. I know one person who's just all to himself all the time. And I missed him for, I think, around a year or 2. And then we saw each other again. I'll ask him from time to time when we were seeing each other, what's up? You look discouraged. Oh, no, I'm okay. Everything is okay. You know, when you ask a person, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Even if they're dying already, I'm fine. You know, that's lying already. Yeah. He will always tell me I'm fine. I said, hey, listen, if you need help, I'm here. And then I missed him for around 2 years. After 2 years, I saw him again here in Chicago. And he began to open up. He said, do you know that I tried to kill myself several times? I said, really? I said, I've been asking how you do. I tried to kill myself several times. I said, thank God you did not go through it. He said, you know why I did not go through it? I said, why? He said, I was too afraid. He wanted to kill himself, but he said, even in killing himself, he was too afraid. Courage just left him. He was too afraid, he could not even kill himself. Yeah. Now that is a totally discouraged person. By the way, life is good. Oh my goodness. I said, life is good. I mean, they even made it into an appliance brand by the Koreans, right? LG. Life is good. Yeah. Jesus said, I come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. Life is good. When you begin to hate life, that is very anti-Christian. Because Jesus loves life. But when you begin to pray that you might die, that is a prayer that God will never answer. Yeah. When Christians are very distressed, oh Lord, may Jesus return, and he didn't return. Oh God, kill me. The answer is no. You see, we have been praying one of the wrong prayers that Christian prays. Lord, bring me to heaven. Bring me to heaven. What God wants is to come to earth. You see, you have to remember when Jesus returns, he will set up his headquarters in Jerusalem. That will be his headquarters. New heaven and new earth. This will be heaven. The earth, thy kingdom come, they will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Will there still be heaven? Of course there is. But earth will be the headquarters of God. He will move here with us. Okay? We have been wanting to move with him there, but he's been wanting to move with us here. And so when you begin to say, Lord, kill me, the answer is no. Because God wants you to overcome all the adversities of life. But when you want your life to be taken, God is the author of life. When you're saying, God, kill me, you are asking God the very opposite thing that he wants to give to you. God says, Jesus said, I come that you might have life, and you're telling him, kill me? That's the exact opposite. Because you are very, it's like, you're discouraged. Your mom says, you want food? No, I'm not hungry. But you are starving. You have not eaten for 3 days. And your mom asks you, you want food? No, I don't want food. The exact opposite. Your body is dying for food. Okay? But you are so out of courage, you cannot even get yourself to eat. You see? That's a sign of discouragement. Discouragement is not as simple as you think. Okay? Next, number 6, pity party. I am no better than my fathers. Yeah? I am no better than my fathers. Now, can you imagine that? Now, Jesus said we should not compare one with, you should not think of yourself more highly than you ought, you know. Pity party is when you begin to say, well, I don't deserve that. They can have it, but I don't deserve that. You see. Yeah, you have a good family. I don't deserve to have a good family. Maybe that's just, you know, one of the most annoying thing that I hear is when people say, well, Pastor, say you are blessed. Yeah, I struggle too. Of course I am blessed. Like all of us are blessed. I mean, by the way, perhaps all of you here, most of you, if not all of you, has a better start than I have when I came here. I became undocumented once also because of my stand for what is right. I mean, there were extended period of times I'll be buying a loaf of raisin bread. I still like raisin bread though. And divide it into 4. That's my food for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Why not think of Friday? Because of Friday we have a Bible study. We have food. Why not Saturday? Saturday we have church. And Filipinos like to eat, so we have food also. Yeah. And I went through a period of time like that. But listen, pity party is not something that you should engage in. You just keep pitying yourself. Oh, woe is me. You know, woe is me. People think it's humble when you put down yourself. You are not supposed to put down yourself. When you put down yourself, you are putting down God's creation. You are created in the image of God. And so when you put yourself down, you are putting down God's creation. Okay? You are putting down God's creation. So, but a pity party. You consider yourself unworthy. Well, I don't deserve that. Well, nobody deserves anything. You know? For example, the blessings of the Lord in your life should humble you. Yeah. You know how some people say, well, I asked what, God gave me what I asked for him. Well, good for you. But how many of you will say that God gives you something you never asked for? Or you don't even deserve? By the way, salvation, do you deserve it? God gives it to you. With all the rebelliousness that we had, all of us have done. With all the unfaithfulness that all of us display, how come we're not in hell? Because we don't deserve this. But that is a testament to the love of God for us. So when you say, well, other people can have it, I don't deserve it. Nobody deserves it. That's why it's called grace. Grace is undeserved, unmerited, unearned. Okay? Nobody deserves it. But because God loves us, He gives it. That's why when God blesses us, it humbles us. You know, we're counting blessings this week, and this week I think it's James' turn because of the many blessings that. I mean, look, I told you about God's favor. You know, on our family. The favor of God on James this week is just overflowing. Does he deserve any of that? No. If I'm God, I will not give him what God is giving him. I'll starve him, perhaps, you know. But God loves James. And so the favor of God is on his life. And when you begin to see something like that, it humbles you. It makes you realize, I told you about Israel, right? I think I have been deceived by my own self in thinking that the smartest people on earth are the Jews. No, they're not. How can they be? God appeared to them so many times, gave them the prophets, the law, and the commandments, gave them the faith fathers, and all of this they keep making wrong decisions. I mean, look at the bad decision that Israel is doing right now in and out of Russia's relationship. This has repercussions over there. The only reason why they're smart is because of the blessings of God in their lives. Yeah, they're not. God said himself, I chose you not because you're the greatest, you're not. Not because you're the richest, you're not. I chose you so that I can display my glory to the nations of the earth. And so Israel is blessed because God wants to demonstrate his glory. It's not because they're the smartest. You apply it to us now. You know, Filipinos say, well, we're just Filipinos, you know. In the Philippines, when you start a church, you want a building, you call Americans to raise money. God did not give us that liberty. God did not even give me the liberty to raise funds like normally, you know. God doesn't even want me to take pledges. God just simply spoke to me and says, I'll give you a vision. Cast the vision. Whoever casts the vision, him I will bless. And look, the Lord has blessed this church. Do you think our church is blessed because we have such great, generous congregations that are overflowing in generosity? No. I know the giving. First building, second building, I don't have overflowing gifts. You know the other week how much money we have for our building that came in, for the Philippine building? Missions? $20. You think that can buy a building? Listen, we're believing God for something, not because you are overwhelmingly you are generous. Comparatively speaking, you are generous. But the top leaders that I had before, when we were raising money, they're not really giving that much. The reason why we were able to buy these buildings is because God blessed us, and I was able to make $500,000 profit of selling this building. I borrowed $200,000 from two different individuals. Paid them after I sold this building. Yeah. It's the grace of God. I did not collect second offering. The only reason, one of the reasons why we have money for missions is because of my tithes goes to missions. That's it. Yeah. I cannot pay tithes and then pay me with it. But if you think there's an overwhelming offering on building programs, you are. I mean, after I announced we have paid off the building, you know what happened to our building fund? That's why it is. I'm not complaining and telling you this. I'm telling you this because to tell you it is by the grace of God that we are able to do what we are doing today. Are you here? And God will continue to bless those who are obedient to His word. God is blessing us. And every time He blesses us, we say, "Phew." Now, can you imagine how overwhelmed me and my wife were when we had the second house? I look at it and say, "Oh, God, thank you." Do I deserve? No, we don't deserve it. And I told you the old lady was trying to give her, the old lady is trying to give her something like $700,000. $700,000, that's no joke. And she told me, "What am I going to do?" I said, "No, don't receive it." I said, "That belongs to the daughter." Now, how many of you here will walk away from a $700,000 blessing? Some of you will beg for it. I choose to do what is right because I believe the daughter deserves it. So I told my wife, don't take the money. This happened twice now to us already. The first person she was taking care of wants to give her some money and jewelry. By the way, even jewelries were being given to her. I said, "No." How many of you will walk away from those kind of blessings? It's because I believe that the grace of God will always overtake you. You know, so it's not because you will never deserve it. Okay? So when you have a pity party, you know what that is? That's lack of faith. That's lack of faith. It's discouragement and fear. You could no longer see God able to bless you in the time that in a situation where you're in right now. You see, the moment there's a question in the scriptures that was asked: is God's hand ever shortened? That's a question in the Bible, right? Have you read it? It's there, okay? Is God's hand ever shortened? Why don't you ask that question to yourself? You know, you find yourself in a beast, in a dire situation, and you think, "Oh, I'm truly dead now. I can't." Well, is God's hand ever shortened? No, it's not shortened. So wherever you are, God, if you will use your faith, God can reach out and take you out of the mire or whatever discouraging situation you're in. But when you have pity party, that's when you close up. You know, that's when you shut down yourself. You want to be alone. You don't want anybody else. That's why fellowship is such an important part of Christian life. Are you listening to me? That's why fellowship, you know, a person is discouraged, they start missing church. Yeah. I don't care how strong they are outside. They just want to be alone. I can do it myself. The moment you say you can do it your own, you're cooked. You see. And another sign, the last sign I'll give you of this discouragement is this. I'm just looking at Elijah, okay? So the first one, fear. The second one is what? Running for life. The third one? The fourth one? Okay, isolation. The fifth one? He wants to die, wants suicidal, huh? Sixth one? The seventh one. 7 signs that 7 scientists totally discouraged. He just wants to lay down and sleep. A very discouraged person loves to sleep. Yeah. You may not think of it that way. Why in the world would you love to sleep all the time? Think about it. There's so much work to do. Huh? Did you hear me? There's so much work to do. My goodness. We're in trouble now, you know. My daughter complains to me all the time, "Papa, when are you going to take your day off?" I always have something to do. Who in their right mind would want to just lay down and do nothing? I don't understand this. You know, my daughter will be so tired of whatever she's doing, however she calls it. She'll be very busy the whole week, miss meals, miss sleep, and then on Saturday just die. She will go to bed around 12 midnight on Friday, and my wife will tell me, "Hey, it's breakfast time, wake up." I said, "No, leave her alone. And sometimes she'll wake up at 3 p.m. just to eat. She resurrects on Saturday, you know. She's an Adventist. And then after that, she just work her tails off again. I do not know why some people have the luxury of sleeping all the time. But a very discouraged person, they just lay down and sleep. Yeah. And after they wake up, I'm tired. Have you ever... now, my wife is always working, but I remember the story I told you when we were driving back from Oklahoma. I told my daughter and my wife, you alternate driving so I can just take a nap for around 20 minutes. After that, I'm good, you know. The last time my wife was sleeping, and I wake her up, Ann, I'm very sleepy now. You wake up and drive. She said, oh, let me take a nap. I said, you're sleeping. You want to take a nap? Why do you want to take a nap? And I was laughing already. Why do you want to? So I can drive. I said, you're not driving yet. You know. So finally, I think around 2 a.m., she was able to manage to wake up. Boy, the car was drunk. I thought we were going to die. So that's the surest way for you to wake up. So I said, pull over, you know. So she was not even driving for 5 minutes. She pulled over. Guess what she did again? Slept again. Yeah. I'm not talking about that because my wife works very, very hard. But if you are a person who does nothing and you think you are very busy, but all you do is actually sleep, there is no more courage in your heart. Yeah. A person with courage loves to wake up. My goodness. Thank God I'm not an easily discouraged person, you know. But a person with courage loves to wake up. Amen. There's a sympathy amen here, you know. Because there's so much work to be done, you know. And in fact, for us to work hard, how many of you will agree with me? You work so hard, you say, there is not enough time in a day. Of course, there's enough time. But you feel that way. Because one of the signs of life, one of the best signs of life is this. Activity. Okay, activity. If you are in the hospital, the doctor to seek signs of life will look for the least sign of activity in your body. What is that? Heartbeat, the pulse. If there's a little signal, you know, still alive. But the moment that things flattens, you're dead. They'll be scrambling for a way to resuscitate you. But they're looking for activity in your heart. Just a little sign of life, activity. A living person who's enjoying life, active all the time. Are you here? You're even lazy in saying amen, you know. Sign of a discouraged person, laziness. Yeah, laziness. That's why you'll find that people who are rich, that they've found the means of life to be very exciting, they'll take breaks from time to time after a negotiation and heartbreaking negotiation. They'll take 1 week off and then grind again. Sometimes we look at those rich people and say, boy, they're always having a vacation. No, they need that or they'll die because of the pressure that they put, the stress that they go through. It's not normal anymore. So they have to take those breaks, you know. And so when you want to just lay down and sleep, that is a sign of a heavily discouraged person. Now, I'm not saying that all of you who are sleeping in the service are discouraged, you know. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you want to sleep all the time and lay down all the time, that's a sign of a very discouraged person. Now, let's ask this question now. So, what could be the reasons or the sources of the discouragement of Elijah? Now, you may have some other reasons why you are discouraged. I don't see that in Elijah, so I'm not discussing that. But let's look now at the process. what were the reasons or what were the sources of the discouragement of this very brave prophet? Okay, well, first, what are the reasons why he was discouraged? First, it's both a sign and a reason. Being alone. Elijah has no one. Okay? Now, what's this? Some people say, well, I'm a loner, as if it's a badge of honor. I'm a loner is a badge of stupidity. Okay? Because we are not created to be alone. We are created as social animals, if I may use the term. Yeah, we're social beings. Now, some people are deceiving themselves. Oh, my dog is my family. That is a lie. Okay. I don't know how people can, they're kissing their dog. Find a person to kiss, you know. It's more delicious that way. But I'm telling you this. Adam has all the pets in the world. Right? He's got the lions. Anybody here has a lion for a pet? Yeah. Only crazy people now have lions for a pet. He has tigers. He's got snakes. You know, those are his pets. He's got birds. And he's got all the creeping things. They were all his pets in the Garden of Eden. The Bible still says that Adam was lonely. And the Bible says it's not good for man to be alone. That is the first statement in the Bible that is negative. Okay? Because in chapter 1 of Genesis it says, and this is the first day, God says, it is good. Always, it is good. It is good. And then he looked at Adam. He was petting a dog. And the dog made him lonely, you know. Because the dog has a partner. He has no partner. The lion has and they are talking to each other, you know. Can you talk to a dog? You wish you can, you know. I mean, if you think when you talk to that dog, he understands you, you have, I mean, something is just totally wrong. That dog is operating by instinct, okay? Try to tell the dog what's the stock market right now. Hey, doggy, I've lost. And the dog will say, "Ow!" And you say, "Oh, thank you, you understand." Oh, you have a big problem, you know. But God looked at Adam on the perfect stage of the animal kingdom and said, it's not good for man to be alone. And so he created a woman to become his helpmeet. Not helpmate, okay? Helpmeet. Old English, worthy companion. Now some people misread the Bible and they think it's helpmate. No, it's not helpmate. It's helpmeet. It's an Old English. It means a companion worthy of who you are. It's an equal. Okay? That's a helpmeet. You meet. Okay? Now, this is Elijah. He's always full of the Spirit. That takes its toll. You know, sooner or later, if you're always alone, you will find yourself talking to yourself. You look at the mirror, and some people are crazy. They actually believe the psychologists. You know, they look at the mirror. How are you doing, handsome? You know, why are you talking to yourself? Let somebody tell you you're handsome. If nobody is telling you you're handsome, then take the clue. You know, don't force it on anybody. But this is what's going on. And now he's running for his life, but he's still. And now he's got a servant from the school of the prophets. He told his servant, "Leave me alone." Listen, don't get so used to being alone. Okay, you are created by God to be a social creature. Yeah, you need companionship. And that's why I think it's a disaster. Look what happened to the retirees here. They put them in a nursing home. What happened when these people go to the nursing home? They die. Yeah, because all of the grumpy old people are in the nursing homes. These people are lacking in energy, and they're still fighting each other. Have you been to a nursing home? It's unbelievable how these old people with no teeth are fighting each other. Yeah. I mean, this is just an amazing thing. But biblically, the ideal is, biblically now, okay? The ideal is these old people should be housed with you. The best source of wisdom is on these old people who age 12. Not all old people have wisdom. Some of them just get old, but there's nothing there, But people like Abraham, will you put Abraham on a nursing home? No, you would want Abraham next to you, talking to your children, passing on wisdom. What happened is we made them lonely. Yeah, we made them lonely. And so it's not good for man to be alone. By the way, if you have become a loner, you can even be alone in the middle of a crowd. Yeah. You have nobody to talk to. Don't do it yourself. So, somebody asked Jesus one time, who is my neighbor then? And that is when Jesus told us the parable of the Good Samaritan. The parable of the Good Samaritan did not answer the question, who is my neighbor? The parable of the Good Samaritan redirected the question. Stop asking, who is my neighbor? Instead, ask the question, who am I a neighbor to? Meaning, if you have no friends, it's not anybody else's fault. It's your fault. You go make friends. You go make friends. If nobody is neighborly to you, be neighborly to somebody. Well, they reject me. Ultimately, somebody will like you. That's all you need. In big churches, they made a study why people go to big churches. Is it because it's big? No, they say. They say people return to church because they know 5 people in the church. Or any group. If you know 5 people, you will return. Yeah, only 5. He said they don't go because of the crowd, because they can identify 5 people that they know. And have you noticed, whenever you are in a crowd, you look for those familiar faces, and you want to find them all the time. And the moment they are gone, that's when you start thinking, I'm going to leave. Unless you make new friends. That's in the field of psychology, you see. You need to know 5 people, then you will keep returning. So being alone, if you are always alone, nobody to talk to, that will make you discouraged. Second, listen to this. Releasing tremendous amount of physical and spiritual energy for an extended period of time. Now, in the field of psychology, they call it burnout. Okay? T.L. Osborne says people burn out because they are discouraged and they lack vision. But he doesn't believe in burnout. Okay? Now, but if you are releasing tremendous amount of energy all the time, it will make you discouraged. I told you the story of the Jewish executive that is in the company that Brother Willie runs. He's worth around $20 million. Got a beautiful wife. Okay? Now in the company of Brother Willie, and I've been there several times, you walk all the time. So this Jewish executive worth around $20 million will go home. His wife is home, had all the clubs and all of those things. And he's very tired from walking, so he will sit down and tell his wife, honey, can you please give me he's got a favorite wine that he drinks when he comes home. And the wife says, it's in the it's in the fridge or something. Get it yourself. The wife will not prepare him. And then he will need his foot to be massaged. Honey, can you please give me a massage? I'm very tired. I'm tired also. Massage yourself. Soak it in hot water. And he will wake up in the morning and he says, honey, can you please prepare my breakfast? I need breakfast too. Why don't you prepare mine? And all of those things. So the wife became practically useless to him. Now, he's a very hard-working person. So he said, his wife suggested to him one day and says, why don't you hire yourself a maid? Now, there is the way Brother Willie describes people sometimes, it's entertainingly, I don't know, you can add another adjective, But Brother Will told me, pare, saksakan ng pangit, So he got himself a very ugly maid. Insecure wives wants their husbands to have ugly secretaries and ugly maids, because they're very insecure that the husband will commit adultery. So, got himself a very ugly wife. This woman was so ugly that even her ugly husband abandoned her. When another ugly person abandons you, you must be really ugly. But this is a Filipina maid now. So he comes home, and he told his maid, prepare me my drinks. He said, sir, what do you want for a drink? And she will prepare it. The following day, she comes home, prepare me my drink. Oh, it's ready, sir, it's ready. And then she said, oh, you look very tired, sir, sit down. I'll give you a hot compress on your foot, and he massages his feet. Wakes up in the morning, the maid is already awake, and breakfast is ready. Sometime later, this old Jewish executive says, why in the world do I have a wife? Divorce his wife. Yeah, the wife was useless. Divorce his wife. Shortly thereafter, married this ugly maid. Willie told me they were laughing at him in the office. So why did you marry such an ugly person? And he said, guys, I'm old. I did not marry her for sex. I'm done with that. He said, I need a companion. I need somebody who'll take care of me. And she is it. Shortly thereafter, she died. Guess what? He left everything to her. So she became an instant billionaire. Guess what? The ugly husband who left her is coming back. Yeah. Companionship. Listen, none of you here is a Superman. Even Superman needs, what's her name? Rambo. Oh. That's new. Where in the world did that come from? Yes. So, look, we need to realize that. Perhaps I'm very happy because I have a good wife and I have a good family. I talk to my children all the time, even if they don't like talking to me, and if I want to scream, I scream at them all the time too, Talk to my wife all the time, scream at her all the time too. And people may not like it, but boy, we're communicating. It is good communication. 5 babies came out. I mean, that's good, So, when you are like Elijah, always releasing tremendous amount of spiritual and physical energy, you need rest. That's why there is such a thing as a Sabbath rest. Okay? You need to be able to take a break. That's why I tell couples, hey, guys, take a break. Go on a vacation. If you can manage it, go on a cruise. Say, well, we don't have the money. Kinakaskas nyo yung credit card nyo kung anong kalokohan Just use it for something beneficial that will make you enjoy each other. Yeah. So lack of rest is another sign. Oh, lack of food. Yeah. When you are hungry, you can be very discouraged. Two of the things my wife asked me when we get married, what do you require from me? I told my wife 2 things. And these 2 things are irreplaceable. I said, I only require 2 things from my wife. Number 1, good food. Yeah. You don't want to be working hard and then eat nasty food, I mean, there's nothing more murderous than that. You're already starving and then you try the food. Oh! No, you want good food, guys. There's no replacement for good food. Today is Mother's Day. Get the hint, okay? so we, we need good food. And I told my wife, clean house. Yeah. That is still a dream. And so I think I'm going to borrow Martin Luther's, I have a dream. That one day I'll be able to walk freely in my house. You know? So get good food, okay? That's nice. Next, number 5. Another source of discouragement is when you are going, you go without direction or destination. What an awful way. Why are you working, guys? Have you ever thought about why in the world are you working? Why in the world are you working so hard all your life? For what? There has to be a destination. There has to be a purpose. When you are just swinging without reason why you are swinging, that is very discouraging. So I'm telling you, parents, do not tell your children what course to take in college. Ask them to seek God. Ask them to pray for guidance and let them follow their dreams. Because activity without destination is disaster. I don't know how many people I have heard, I really don't like this course. I just have to take it. There's got to be a reason why you're doing what you are doing. There's got to be a hope, you know. And so Elijah went, where is he going? He doesn't know where he's going. He went to Horeb, but he doesn't really know. Horeb is a direction given by the angel. But he just left. He just took off with no destination in sight. There has to be a reason why you're doing what you're doing. And the last reason that I can see from Elijah, where he was very discouraged, surrender. Yeah. He just gave up. He ran for his life. This Jezebel, he has been tormenting Jezebel for years. She could not get him killed. And now she torments him. She just gave up. Yeah. And by the way, there are people who just gave up. Just give up. No more dream. That's a sign. When you surrender, if there's no more fight in you, you'll be a very discouraged person. You know, my prayers are changing. I told the Lord that the moment I'm done with my mission on earth, I just want to go home. But now I'm changing my prayer. I want to live longer. I want to see my grandchildren. But I'm telling God, if I'm going to be older than anybody else in my family, I said, Lord, I want to be old. I want to grow old strong. I don't want anybody changing my diaper. I don't want anybody doing things that I should be doing. I don't want anybody guiding me to the bathroom. You want me to pull down your pants? No, I don't want that. You know, I don't even want to have colonoscopy because it's very invasive. You know, but I told God that I want to get old strong. Yeah, I want to retain my strength because I still have some fight in me. You know, I may walk slower now, lift lighter weights now, but boy, my spirit is strong. You know, I would like to think that when I see that devil, he runs from me. I don't run from him. Yeah, I welcome a fight still. My heart is still strong. My spirit is still strong. Don't give up. If you surrender, you're dead. Okay? And so tonight we'll study how Elijah got rejuvenated. Okay? It's 12:32, so I don't want the mothers to be angry with me. So happy Mother's Day again. Let's all stand. Hallelujah.